Welcome back to True Tomorrows, everyone. The show where we kind of dive into the thrilling and sometimes chilling possibilities of technology. I'm Adrian Smith,
And I'm Julia Jones.
and we're all about exploring those stories where tomorrow's innovations meet today's anxieties. You know, the kind that make you wonder, is that science fiction or just around the corner?
Yeah, that gray area is fascinating, trying to figure out what's scientifically plausible and what's still in the realm of pure imagination and more importantly, what these stories tell us about the future we're building.
So today we're tackling a world where even your dreams aren't safe.
Oh, wow.
Buckle up for a story about mind control, dream rebels, and the fight for cognitive freedom. Don't forget to rate and follow True Tomorrows for more captivating stories about the intersection of technology and the human experience. Now, let's jump right in. Imagine a world where the government can scan your dreams. I mean, we worry about data privacy and companies tracking our online activity, but this takes it to a whole new level. In this world, there are dream cops using DreamScan technology to literally police people's minds, looking for any sign of unorthodox thinking.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it? And what's fascinating is that the science behind this. I mean, we're already seeing advancements in brain-computer interfaces and neurotechnology. So the idea that this technology could evolve to interpret the complex imagery and emotions of dreams while still in the realm of science fiction, it isn't entirely implausible.
Yeah. And in this world, there are these rebels. They're called the Neon Nomads. They're Lucid Ones. People with the ability to control their dreams, to consciously shape and experience them. They see this as the ultimate freedom. In a world where every waking moment is monitored, dreams become their sanctuary.
It makes you think about what dreams represent. This space of pure imagination, a place where we can explore without limits. And in a world where everything is controlled, that becomes even more precious. This story really raises the question, how much control is too much?
Yeah.
If our thoughts, even in the dream world, are regulated, what does it mean to be truly free?
Right. And these Neon Nomads, they're not just dreaming, they're creating. They're building entire worlds within their minds. Cities, landscapes, even traveling through space, all within the theater of their dreams.
Oh.
It's like they've found a way to escape the confines of this controlled reality.
It's that human desire for escapism, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even in a world where physical freedom is limited, the imagination can still run wild. But it makes you wonder, is escapism through technology truly freedom? Especially if that technology could be used to influence the content of our escapes.
That's a good point. And that's where things get really intense. The story takes us on this thrilling chase as the nomads, who are constantly on the run from the dream cops, search for a place called the Dreamlands. They believe it's a safe haven, a place where they can dream freely without fear of surveillance. They're using stolen tech, cracking codes, constantly trying to stay one step ahead.
This Dreamlands is interesting. I mean, it could be a metaphor for that universal longing for a place free from constraint. It's like a virtual reality space, but for dreams. Makes me think about current research in shared virtual reality and lucid dreaming technologies. Could there be a future where our dream worlds collide?
It's wild to think about. And the story doesn't shy away from the danger. Picture this. A raid on one of the nomads' hideouts. Dream cops closing in. Our main character, Lexi, barely escaping. Her mind is racing, her dream power is surging. It's a high-stakes chase.
Historically, we've seen attempts to manipulate the mind, and it's never ended well. This story takes that fear to an extreme. Imagine a drug that could sever someone's connection to their subconscious, their ability to dream. That's what Lexi is facing.
She's cornered, about to be injected with this drug, and then boom, something incredible happens. The world around her starts to distort. The walls ripple, and the ground feels like it's moving beneath her feet.
Yeah.
It's like her dream powers are affecting the real world.
Now, this is where the story gets really interesting from a scientific standpoint. Could intense mental activity, like lucid dreaming, have a measurable impact on the physical world? Could our thoughts, our dreams, actually influence our surroundings or even other people's perceptions? It pushes the boundaries of what we know about the mind and its power.
And that's where we'll leave you hanging for now, on the edge of this mind-bending revelation. But trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. So we left off with Lexi cornered, about to lose her connection to the dream world. But then her powers, it's like they ripple out into reality. It's a total cliffhanger.
It really makes you think, what if our minds are more powerful than we realize? What if thoughts, especially intensely focused ones, like in lucid dreaming, could have tangible effects? There's a whole field of research exploring this, looking at things like the placebo effect and even studies on collective consciousness.
Yeah. It's like the line between science fiction and reality is getting blurrier every day.
Right.
This story, even though it's set in the future, taps into some very real anxieties we have right now about technology and control.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. We're constantly bombarded with information, algorithms curating what we see online, subtly shaping our perceptions. It's not that different from the DreamScan technology in the story, is it? In both cases, there's this external force trying to influence what we think and believe.
And that's what makes the Neon Nomads so compelling. They're fighting for that freedom of thought, that right to control their own minds. They're hackers, artists, rebels, anyone who refuses to conform. They're like the digital age Robin Hood,
Yeah.
fighting for cognitive liberty.
It's a fight that resonates with something deep within us, don't you think? That desire for autonomy, for the right to think our own thoughts, dream our own dreams without interference. It makes you wonder, at what point do we start pushing back against that kind of control?
Well, in this story, it leads to an all-out rebellion. The Nomads are constantly on the move, trying to stay one step ahead of the Dream Cops. They're risking everything to find this mythical Dreamlands, this haven for free thinkers. It's a classic story of the underdog fighting against a powerful, oppressive force.
And their struggle makes you question, where do we draw the line? Is any level of thought control acceptable, or is the very idea fundamentally incompatible with a free society?
I mean, even if we don't have Dream Cops yet, we do have algorithms shaping our online experiences, influencing what we see, what we buy, even who we vote for. It's a slippery slope, and this story really forces us to confront that.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is that the story doesn't just present the problem, it offers a potential solution too. The idea that our minds themselves hold the key to breaking free.
Right. And that's where Lexi's journey becomes so important. Remember, she starts as this fugitive, desperate to escape. But as her powers develop, she realizes she can do more than just run. She can awaken others to the power within their own minds.
It's a powerful message. It suggests that true liberation comes not just from resisting external control, but from cultivating inner strength and awareness.
It's like the real battle isn't just against the technology, but against our own complacency, our willingness to let others control our thoughts.
Precisely. And that's what makes this story so thought-provoking. It reminds us that we have a choice. We can choose to be passive consumers of information, letting algorithms dictate our reality, or we can choose to be active creators, shaping our own thoughts, our own dreams, and ultimately our own future.
And in a world where technology is becoming increasingly intertwined with our lives, that choice is more important than ever.
It's a message that goes beyond the story itself. It's a call to action for all of us to be more mindful of how we engage with technology, to reclaim our cognitive autonomy, and to remember that the power to shape the future ultimately lies within each and every one of us.
Wow, that's deep. But I think you're right. This story isn't just entertainment. It's a reminder that we have a responsibility to use technology wisely, to protect our minds, and to fight for a future where our thoughts and dreams remain truly free.
And that brings us back to that tantalizing question we posed earlier. If technology could grant us access to a collective dreamland, a shared space for our minds to connect and create, would we want it?
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
On one hand, imagine the possibilities. Collaborating on a scale never before imagined, experiencing the dreams and imaginations of others, tapping into a collective wellspring of creativity.
But on the other hand, what happens to individual privacy in such a world? Could such technology be used for good, or would it inevitably be exploited for control and manipulation? Would it be another tool for those in power to influence our thoughts, our desires, even our very identities?
It's almost like the story is giving us a glimpse into a potential future, a world where the boundaries between technology and our inner lives have become blurred, and we have to grapple with the consequences.
This is asking us to consider, are we ready for that future? Are we prepared to face the ethical challenges it presents?
It's a lot to unpack, but I think these are conversations we need to be having now. Because the future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we create through our choices, our actions, and the way we engage with the technologies that are shaping our world.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe by exploring these potential futures, by confronting these challenging questions head on, we can learn to navigate the uncharted waters of technological advancement in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
And maybe, just maybe, we can create a future where technology amplifies our creativity and our connection rather than diminishing our freedom.
That's a future worth striving for, wouldn't you say?
It's funny thinking back to the beginning of the story, where Lexi was just trying to escape. By the end, she's not just running. She's causing this ripple effect, awakening the dream cops to their own power. Total game changer.
Yeah. It really flips the script on what we think of as rebellion. Instead of fighting against the system, she's changing it from within. It makes me wonder if that could be more effective in the real world. Could changing minds be more powerful than trying to dismantle structures?
It's a powerful idea, no doubt.
Okay.
And it ties back to what we were saying about the power of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
If our thoughts can have like a tangible impact on the world, maybe that's the key to creating real change.
Right. It's almost like the story saying the real revolution happens within. It starts with each of us becoming aware of our own power, our own potential, and then using that to influence the world around us.
Exactly. And that's where this idea of the Dreamlands comes in, right? It's not just a physical place. It's a state of being. It's about recognizing that the power to create, to connect, to dream, it's already within us.
Exactly. It's that shift in consciousness, that realization that true freedom isn't something you fight for externally. It's something you cultivate internally.
It's a hopeful message, isn't it? Even in a world where technology seems to be closing in on us, where control and surveillance are becoming more pervasive, there's still this spark of possibility.
For sure.
It reminds us that we're not just passive recipients of the future. We can actively shape it.
And I think that's what makes stories like this one so important. They allow us to explore these complex ideas, to confront these anxieties, and to come away with a sense of hope and empowerment.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about this fictional world. These questions about control, freedom, and the power of the mind, they're relevant to all of us right now.
Yeah, I mean, think about how much time we spend online, how much information we consume, how easily we can get caught up in the echo chambers of social media.
Right.
It's easy to feel like our thoughts are being manipulated, our attention is being hijacked.
Right. It's like we're constantly being bombarded with messages trying to sway our opinions, influence our behavior, sell us something. It makes you wonder, are we really in control of our own minds?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves. And this story reminds us that we have a choice. We can choose to be critical thinkers, to question the information we're given, to be aware of the forces that are trying to shape our perceptions.
We can choose to be mindful of how we use technology, to set boundaries, to protect our mental space.
And we can choose to cultivate our own inner strength, to nurture our creativity, and to connect with others in meaningful ways that go beyond the superficiality of the digital world.
It's about reclaiming that sense of agency, of remembering that we have the power to shape our own lives, our own thoughts, and ultimately our own future.
And that's a powerful message to leave our listeners with today. So as you go about your day, think about the choices you make, the information you consume, the way you interact with the world around you. Remember that you have the power to choose freedom, to cultivate your own inner dreamland, and to create a future that aligns with your values.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we're wrapping up this episode of True Tomorrows. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of mind control, dream rebels, and the power of the human spirit.
It's been a pleasure. And remember, if you're curious about the intersection of technology and the human experience, if you want to explore the thrilling possibilities and the potential pitfalls of the future we're building, be sure to subscribe to True Tomorrows.
We'll be back tomorrow with another captivating story that will challenge your assumptions, spark your imagination, and leave you pondering the big questions about the world we're creating. Until then, keep dreaming, keep questioning, and keep exploring.